Living in the moment? What is living in the moment? It's being in the present, the here and now, and for that moment, ignoring our wandering thoughts of concerns and other responsibilities. That moment in time when we briefly pause to focus our senses on the sights, sounds, smells, and touches around us. Open your mind and sense those things around you that you often take for granted. I've invited Dr. Schoomaker to explain how this is important for a resilient life.
I'm retired Lieutenant General Eric Schoomaker, and former Surgeon General of the Army. Why is it important that we live in the moment? We spend well over 75 to 95% of our time thinking about the past and the future, and both really are largely fictitious. We know that much of which we construct about the past um, is a unique and often flawed picture of what the past was. And what the future represents, because it hasn't occurred, is entirely fictitious, and yet we dwell on it. Our minds dwell on the past, often with regret or guilt, and we focus on the future too often with fear and catastrophizing, and yet they haven't happened. We play these dialogues over and over like they're a movie. And all along, we have this sixth sense that's very human, that what's called awareness, and that it permits you to gently move those thoughts aside and to focus on the present moment. This awareness is the centerpiece of what we call mindfulness. And if I can leave any message with you today, it's that you can manage this wandering thought, these puppy mind, as it's often called, to allow you to live in the present moment. Uh, those thoughts will come up. It's natural for humans to be a narrative builder, but you can sweep those without judgment or condemnation or frustration into the corner of your mind and come back to the present moment, to focus on your senses, to focus on what's about that, what's about you now. How can you plan for the future if you're only focused on the moment? Well, the way that we plan for the future is to focus on the moment and then greet the future and its ambiguity with the confidence that we can manage that. It allows us to tap into our working memory to focus our attention much better. Only then you can open your mind up to what you need to do to face that ambiguous and uncertain future.
Thank you, Dr. Schoomaker, for helping us understand why it's so important to focus on the present so we can understand the past and plan for the future. So learn to sit back and relax and push those other thoughts aside.